Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today because we're going to completely flip the script on how we look at a facility's operations. For far too long, businesses have treated energy as just this fixed overhead cost, a bill that arrives every month that simply has to be paid, right? Well, today we're going to explore the framework that proves energy is actually a dynamic, highly controllable resource. We're going to trace the complete life cycle of energy management, starting all the way down at the fundamental physics of power and working our way up to generating serious corporate profits. To kick things off, let's think about the journey of a single joule of energy. We all learned in basic science classes that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So if a manufacturing plant is operating at only, say, 60% efficiency, I really want you to ask yourself, where did that other 40% go? It didn't just vanish into thin air. It went somewhere. That's literally like buying a dozen eggs and throwing 5 in the trash every single time. Finding out exactly where that wasted power went is the central puzzle of energy management. Okay, let's dive into our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. Energy fundamentals, 2. The energy audit toolkit, 3. Material and energy balance, 4. Energy management systems, 5. Managing energy projects, and 6. Monitoring and targeting. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Energy Fundamentals, Physics at Work. Before we can effectively manage and optimize energy on a factory floor, we absolutely have to understand its most basic physical forms. Broadly speaking, all the energy we interact with falls into 2 distinct buckets, potential and kinetic. Potential energy is stored energy. It has the capacity to do work because of its position or configuration. Think of water held behind a massive dam, or the tension in a tightly stretched steel spring. It's just waiting. Kinetic energy, on the other hand, is the energy of motion. It is actively working. When that dam releases the water to spin a turbine, or when a fluid flows through a pipe, that is kinetic energy in action. And to give you a sense of the sheer, awe-inspiring scale of potential energy, we literally have to look no further than Einstein's famous equation for nuclear energy, E equals mc squared. This elegantly shows that energy is equal to mass times the speed of light squared. It's a great reminder that even a tiny, microscopic amount of physical mass contains an absolutely staggering amount of stored energy just waiting to be released. Which brings us to the ultimate rule of the universe, the first law of thermodynamics. So the crucial point here is energy is never lost. Actually, scratch that. Saying energy loss in a facility is kind of a misnomer. The energy didn't disappear, it just converted into a form that we aren't counting or tracking. Most often, it turns into ambient heat due to mechanical friction or electrical resistance. Our goal isn't to stop energy from disappearing, but to strictly control exactly what it turns into. Moving right along to Section 2, the Energy Audit Toolkit, Hunting for Waste. So if energy is just hiding out as friction or waste heat, how do we actually go onto a factory floor and hunt down this uncounted energy? Well, we do it through a highly structured energy audit. The source material outlines a rigorous 10-step process, but for our purposes, we can distill it down into 4 highly effective phases. First is preparation and planning, where you define your scope and gather up those historical utility bills. Second is execution and data collection. This means getting your boots on the ground, conducting site surveys, and taking physical measurements. Third is analysis and balances, where you map out exactly where every single joule is going. And finally, reporting an action plan, where you present management with a concrete, prioritized list of cost-saving improvements. That brings us to Section 3, Material and Energy Balance, the math of waste. I really want you to think about this using an inventory analogy. Any good business rigorously tracks its physical raw materials, right? Well, we need to apply that exact same accounting discipline to invisible energy. And this brilliantly illustrates the flow. Notice how raw energy, stuff like coal, oil, gas, or grid electricity, enters your facility's utility systems. These are your boilers and compressors. They convert that raw, baseline energy into usable forms like steam or chilled water. This then flows into the actual production facility. Ultimately, energy leaves the system either embedded in the final product or as waste, like flue gases, water vapor, and heat emissions. The math behind this is beautifully simple but incredibly powerful. Whether you're balancing physical mass or thermal energy, the core equation is input equals output plus stored. Or if we expand it out, raw materials equals products plus wastes plus stored materials plus losses. That losses variable, that is the real game changer. Those are your unknowns. If your inputs don't perfectly equal your known outputs and waste, that missing variable is the energy going unnoticed right down the drain, costing your facility money every single minute. On to Section 4. Energy Management Systems, the ISO 50001 framework. Now that we know how to calculate the waste, how do we make controlling it a permanent, everyday part of the corporate culture? We use a formal energy management system, or EMS, governed by the ISO 50001 framework. Let's move to and see how this builds. This is the PDCA cycle, which is essentially the beating heart of ISO 50001. It takes energy management from a one-time check-the-box audit and turns it into a continuous, ever-improving loop integrated directly into day-to-day business operations. The 4 pillars of this cycle are rapid and relentless. Plan, you understand the context of your organization, establish an energy policy, set your baselines, and define hard targets. Do, you implement those action plans and actually train your staff. Check, you monitor your processes, measure them against your targets, and audit the results. Act, you take corrective actions on nonconformities to continually improve performance. And then, the whole shebang starts all over again. Next up, Section 5, Managing Energy Projects, Execution and Funding. So, identifying savings in a continuous loop is fantastic, but eventually you actually have to build something. Every successful upgrade goes through this exact project development cycle. It's a clear 6-step timeline. You start with identification, finding the big opportunity. Then technical design to engineer the solution. Next is financing, securing the bag, getting the money. Then contracting out the labor. 5th is implementation, actually building and commissioning the physical hardware. And finally, monitoring to ensure it actually works. This timeline ensures a raw idea is systematically transformed into a functioning, commissioned asset. Let's zoom in on step 3 for a second, financing. Top management needs to know how to pay for this, and more importantly, how it helps the bottom line. You have internal sources like direct cash reserves or revenue budgets, which are amazing for fast payback projects. But for massive overhauls, you might look at external sources, bank loans, equipment leases, or specialized energy service contracts where the contractor guarantees the savings and gets paid right out of the reduced utility bill. What's absolutely fantastic here is that factoring in energy efficiency can often dramatically improve the financial viability of a project that had literally nothing to do with energy in the first place. And finally, Section 6, Monitoring, Targeting, and Reporting, or M&T. This is how you ensure all those shiny new projects you just funded and built are actually hitting their marks. I really want to drive this definition home for sure. Monitoring and targeting is a management technique where utilities are managed as controllable resources in the exact same way that raw materials and finished product inventory are managed. Look, you wouldn't let an employee casually throw expensive raw materials into the garbage, right? M&T creates a system where tossing away compressed air or steam is treated with that exact same level of strict operational discipline. Now, what's really interesting about this workflow is how it systematizes that discipline. On the left, we feed the system with 2 standard inputs: energy data from your meters and operational data, like your production volumes or even the outside temperature. The system crunches all of this and spits out standardized outputs on the right: key figures for management, immediate alarms when consumption deviates from the target, trend analysis reporting, and formal documentation. Basically, it takes raw, chaotic data and turns it into highly actionable business intelligence. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. It is essentially the golden rule of business. You simply cannot manage what you do not measure. We've seen today that energy obeys the laws of physics. It can be audited, balanced, systematically managed, and optimized for serious profit. So I want to leave you with this question to ponder about your own operations. What is your facility failing to measure today? Thank you so much for joining me, and I sincerely hope this has completely changed how you look at the power flowing through your organization.
Energy management helps industries reduce energy costs while improving efficiency. An energy auditor identifies energy losses and recommends cost-saving improvements. Smart energy